Welcome on into 19 on the Clock, your Tri-State High School and College Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pushkar. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jackson McCarty. Jackson, happy Wednesday to you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. This is the first time in
a few weeks where we've done the same location.
I was going to say a month.
Yeah, it might be.
Where it's the same people and the same location. Yeah. It's definitely a month. Either way, it's nice to be back in the podcast room, especially when it's so cold outside.
It's one of those things where I was like, man, if I just don't have to drive down to Newport today, right. I don't mind that. So.
Yeah, I have to walk through the parking garage and get a little chilly and all that good stuff. Like, we can just be at work. You can wrap it up before you go home for the day. It works out pretty well.
Exactly. So it's going to be as much as it is chilly outside right now, it's not going to be chilly for high school football this weekend, which is nice.
And by the time we hit Bengals now,
and
also by the time we hit Bengals now today, it's going to be like 55, which is significantly better than it's been.
Yeah, I'm wearing a turtleneck sweater, and I'm like, I'll probably need to lose this by the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to have to switch as soon as you get off work, I think.
Yeah, well, I got a coat, and it's like, all right, I'm going to leave that off, and then we're going to slowly lose more and more as I work my way home.
What about? Well, at least you still got your strategy.
Yeah,
but
planned it out.
If you need a strategy for your weekend and you happen to love ball, you've got plenty of options.
And here on 19 on the Clock, we love ball.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I do nothing but whine about football being out of season if football's not in season.
Yeah. You figure out ways to bring up football when we're out of season. It's great.
A lot. And it is kind of ironic because while I sit here and tell you that there's a lot of things to do in the Tri-State in terms of watching quality football this Friday and Saturday, the first game we'll talk about on the high school side is up in Dayton.
Oh, okay.
Which have my reservations about why this game's in Dayton.
All right. Go. Let's kick it off because it is a classic rivalry for the Tri-State.
A rivalry that we continuously said when these two teams first met, we will see this again in the playoffs. Look what happens. It is St. X. It is Moeller going to Welcome Stadium in Dayton. The problem and the reason that they're up there is because we've now hit the point where they like to start fanning out the games, and Moeller doesn't have a home field.
True.
So it's like they could have let them play at Sycamore, right down the road, or they could have let them play in they're not going to put them in St. X, obviously. But, there's a host of places that they could have gone. And putting it up in Dayton feels weird to me, but they're two teams that are big enough to draw people up to Dayton. So yeah, absolutely. I get it. All right, so let's start overall. And while usually in these games and setups, I like to talk about the stats that the players have picked up through the year. With this game, I want to focus on their first matchup.
Yeah.
And what went wrong, what went right, what I expect to happen somewhere in the middle here. The quick setup for St. X, they're 8-2. Last week, they played Lakota East, beat them 42-7.
Okay.
Big result, exactly what I'm looking for out of a St. X offense that has kind of confused me and been pretty inconsistent to this point in the year.
Because let's be upfront off the top. When we were talking about the GCL South, originally it was no mention of Elder, who ended up being the champions.
Right.
A belief that Moeller was probably going to go undefeated and ended up 8-3, and now St. X 8-2 now.
And their last game got canceled. Their last regular season game, so it got weird on them, but. Yes, it was, and LaSalle obviously being the third team we talked about in the GCL South, not quite like they've got Anderson this week, and
that's going to be tough.
Right, that's going to be a very tough one. So the GCL South may be the most unpredictable I've seen it. It's in my time of being here, or I say maybe it's definitely the most unpredictable it's been in my time being here because Moeller didn't win. That's kind of been the commonality, but you always assume that if Moeller's not going to win, it's going to be St. X. Neither team really hit that, like you mentioned. The game against Moeller, St. X lost 30-13 earlier this year.
Okay.
And then quick stats as a defense, 11 picks, 12 forced fumbles. Good numbers that you want to watch out for. The big one, the number one thing that St. X has to fix if they want to beat Moeller this Friday, the running game has to wake up. In game one, 47 rush yards as a team. They have three guys who are over – well, no, it's So their quarterback has over 200 yards. And then Daniel Vollmer has over 200. Spencer Stegbauer has over 200. And then Aiden Graham's at like the 150.
Okay.
It's a really – and like nobody really, I don't think, had above 5 yards per carry. Like it's a very intermittent, slow approach to how football is being played. Granted, they play a lot of high-level teams from all around – the region, but
absolutely,
it's still just not to the level of efficiency that also very much rang true in the first game. 47 rush yards. You have to do so much better than that if you want to take down Moeller, because you can't be a one-dimensional offense. Moeller's defense is still too good. If you go in there and you're like, hey, Jackson Frey, we're going to make you throw it 30 times like they did the first time, and we're going to win on this one, it's probably not going to work. Because if they have no real threat to your run game, especially when you have somebody as talented as Daniel Vollmer back there, somebody we know can be so valuable to the run game, if they're holding you to really below 100 as a team, I think you've lost the plot, truly. But since we already mentioned Jackson Frey, why don't we talk about how I think that they need to spread the wealth a little bit more. In the first game, Frey had 150 passing yards, 18 for 30, 2 touchdowns and a pick. That doesn't really mess with me too bad, but 88 yards of that went to Cam Taylor. I can take that line if the running game wakes up. If it's still not where you exactly want it to be, spreading it around, finding more comfort with guys around him. Like Cam Taylor, like I said, led that pack. Then Alex McClatchy had 5 catches for 28 yards. It was a high volume receiver, but was not getting very much on yak yards, not really widening the field, not stretching anything out. So you've got to find your ways that if you're not going to have these guys that are getting 12 yards per catch, 10 yards per catch, anything that's like actually turning the chains on a consistent basis, you need to just at least fan it out to enough people so that that's opening up everything else.
Yes, you need to be able to make those options available if you're not finding one that just breaks away.
And even if it's not, like let's say 2 of McClatchy's passes go to somebody else, even if he has the exact same yards per catch, it still makes the defense have to fan out more and is going to open something else up for you. You know what I mean? Because if you have to guard more than 2 guys, I think between Taylor and McClatchy, it was like 12 of the catches or 12 of the 18 pass completions.
Okay.
And so between everybody else, there's 6 to go around. It's like, well, we know who they're probably going to look towards.
Yeah, and McClatchy's 5 of those.
Right, exactly.
So,
so it was just a situation where if you can figure that out, spread the wealth, I think it's going to help you a lot more in the long term. And then the big one, turn the pressure up on defense. They've got 3 defensive D1 linebackers, not defensive one, division one. So much talent.
Yeah.
They had 1 sack against Moeller, 5 tackles for loss. I'm willing to build on that. Like, if I'm saying X, I'm like, okay, 5 tackles for loss, solid. Like, I feel good about that, even with some rushing stats that we'll talk about here in a second with Moeller. That's a good starting point. You've got to get after the quarterback a little bit more. You've got to make things happen and, maybe even be able to expand upon the 1 interception and the 1 forced fumble that you didn't recover in that game. It was kind of weird. Both teams had an interception and a forced fumble that they didn't recover.
Okay.
So it became the game very specifically became about the margins.
So I'm going to be very honest. Let's just go ahead and hit all of the Moeller side of things, because I think the context of having both ends is going to make this easier for me to bring up what I'm thinking about.
So quickly, Moeller 8-3 beat West 33-14 last week, over almost 1,700 team rushing yards, which is a testament to how multiple they've become this year. The running game in the first Moeller-St. X game, hunting. Tyler Joslin had 93 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Dante Ware had 72 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, and a touchdown. You have 2 dudes that outrushed the entirety of St. X by themselves.
Yes.
One
guy had almost double.
Right. And I think they almost tripled them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Notably, a down game for Matt Ponatoski, the quarterback that we spent all of last year revering, has been a kind of a weird season for him. A lot of talent left, but, it is what it is. 16 for 26, 136 passing yards, a touchdown, a pick. That's a Kentucky commit. You do expect more inherently. Not to say that he had plenty of games where he rose above it, but St. X did do a good job of limiting the guy who everybody said was the star player of the game.
Absolutely.
And then, like I mentioned a minute ago, they won the margins, had that interception, had that unrecovered forced fumble, but they had 4 sacks to the one more tackle for loss. So they improved narrowly. They added that pressure that I'm looking for the Bombers, and it flipped.
So this is what I wanted to bring up because you mentioned the pressure.
Yes.
You mentioned that having those linebackers, the 1 sack.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at what Ponatoski was doing in that game, where he was already at a 16 for 26, looks like a lot of short passes because you're averaging, I'm going to say that's like 8-9 yards a pass.
Yeah.
Only 1 touchdown. Like he's not going for deep balls. He's not playing for the opportunity to break out on his own and things like that. Were they more just reading, we can take advantage of the lack of, because you even mentioned the 5 tackles for loss, but it's like if you're getting a run game that's moving as well as Moeller was, what needs to change? What can change on the St. X side? Is it targeting the running backs and kind of daring Ponatoski to then go off?
I think it's if they were sending 4 all game, hypothetically, I think you should send 5.
Okay.
That helps you on your run game. And if I remember right, St. X had 5 pass deflections in that game. That is a lot of opportunity that if Ponatoski puts the ball a little bit more off mark, that might be another pick.
Yeah.
That might be, another situation where you can get to him and force a fumble or get a sack or, and really mess with the momentum and structure that Moeller plays within.
Yeah.
That adding that extra rusher, finding a way to just be like, we are going to overcommit on the run game because we trust our defensive backs to get us home, and having that extra person obviously coming in to apply pressure to the quarterback. I think that is the biggest thing that St. X could possibly do to turn the tides here. The game also feels weirdly way closer than the scoreline indicated.
Yeah.
30-13 feels wrong.
Well, it's one of those things where when I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, well, you have no run game on the St. X side. You only have these passes.
Right. And still really very equivalent passing games.
Yeah, that is kind of the thing too, where it's 150 passing yards from Frey, it's 136 from Ponatoski. You mentioned the 1 interceptions each. Frey getting 2 touchdowns. Like to me, is just fixing the run game enough for St. X to overcome Moeller in this, and only because you haven't mentioned the defensive side as like a whole on Moeller. Do you think they can?
It's tricky, right? Mm-hmm. I think if you can establish a more solid use of like your play action, make sure that they're fearing Jackson Frey early, and then allowing Vollmer, because if I remember right, as the seasons continued to progress, Vollmer was kind of working his way back into being a running back. Okay. They wanted to prioritize him as a defensive player, and then they kind of found out, they're like, no, we probably need to use you 2-way. If he's in a spot at this point in the year where they feel really good about truly unleashing him, giving him 15 touches, I think you're clear, because we know how talented Vollmer is. But at the beginning of the year, I said that he might have been the player that we should be the most concerned about in the GCL South, and that's with Matt Ponatoski.
Yes.
But then they pivoted away from using him as a back. If they are ready to commit to what helped them succeed last year, I think that there's no doubt in my mind that St. X's run game can double up, maybe even triple up what they put up last time. And this stat line, or this final score, looks a tremendous amount different.
Okay, and I'll ask you this kind of as we talk about predictions for this. What week was that game? Was that like 4 or 5?
I believe so. Here, I can check right now, but it was pretty early in the season. I know that, and I want to say it might have even been the first GCL South game for both of them.
I think it was.
Let's see. St. X was week 5, yeah, and it was their first, because it was those 3 games for Moeller, and in between their World Tour.
Swish,
Boom.
right on point. The Moeller, Moeller was at a point for us where we would always go, well,
It's Moeller.
it's Moeller.
Right.
I think now, at the end of the season, we go, Moeller bleeds.
They absolutely do. And hold on, sorry, because I want
No, you're
to.
fine.
I don't want to mess anything up. I'm almost positive that they would play the winner of Princeton Elder, but I wanted to make sure before I said as much. Either way, Moeller has become a proven. Like, obviously, they are a proven school.
Absolutely.
We know how good they can be, but they are very, susceptible to losing this year. I mean, they've done it 3 times. That doesn't just happen. So
Yeah, I mean the one game was an out of towner, I think, from Chicago, as we had always mentioned.
Right.
But the losing to Elder, losing in the GCL South,
yes,
was always the shock to us.
correct, and justifiably so, in my opinion, because it's Moeller. Like
Yeah.
we spent a lot of time, I can't find this bracket. This is about to drive me crazy. There we go. Yes, they play the winner of Elder and Princeton. So, there's
Okay.
a pretty solid chance that we get Moeller Elder again.
Yeah.
And you're, St. X Elder. I also do not want to count Princeton out, because being on the sideline for Winton, Princeton last week, that was maybe the coolest atmosphere I've ever been a part of. When I left, Winton was up 16-0. The whole sideline was buzzing. I was just like, okay, I can comfortably go without having that much Princeton tape.
Yeah.
Because Winton Woods just looked so good. And then I got the game up on my phone, and Princeton they have this way about them.
Yeah.
They are not a team that you will ever understand on paper. They're not even really a team you'll ever understand watching. But Andre Parker consistently finds a way to give his opposing team headaches and pulls it out of the bag almost every time.
Absolutely.
So this division, or Region 4 rather, in Ohio is becoming just such a confusing, wonderful mess. And I cannot wait to see who advances from both of those games.
I am looking forward to that as well. Do you want to? I'm gonna make you pick on this one first. Yeah. I'll do first on others, but this is just one where, as our expert, where are you sitting with this?
Let me, and I know I should have probably done this before we came in, but I want to just check something really fast.
Take your time.
I want to see what. Okay, they gave Vollmer 13 touches last week.
Mm-hmm.
Had 83 yards, 6.4 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
Long of 59. I think, and let me check the St. Ignatius, just to make sure that there's consistency. Okay, so they didn't give him any touches in that game. Give me Moeller. Give me, just because they're freaking me out, which it doesn't look like Vollmer logged anything in the St. Ignatius game. But
Okay.
I think I have to trust. Okay, but then it was 12 against LaSalle. No, you know what? Give me a commitment to the run game by St. X up in Dayton, a game that feels like Moeller is supposed to win it, but St. X commits to what they need to commit to. The talent comes on to display, and they take down Moeller.
Okay. So you are justifying it with the caveat of they need to commit to the run game.
Correct.
And if they don't,
Yes.
you're like Moeller, but
Yes.
you think they'll do it.
But Vollmer, it looked like he didn't play against St. Ignatius,
Mm-hmm.
but had 12 touches the week before, looked good, had 13 touches last week, and really good numbers.
Okay.
If Vollmer is actually full force back running, that's who I'm taking.
I will take Moeller.
Yeah, fair. I get it.
I'll still split it with us. As you mentioned, the almost 1,700 rush yards across the season so far, 11 interceptions. I think that's a really good. I think they are still strong on both sides of the ball. That even if the passing game isn't where it could be, where it should be, maybe. Mm-hmm. I still think they're going to cover the rest of that. And I think this game will be closer.
Yes. Which is, again, by the numbers, the run game's really the only differentiator.
I could see this being within a score.
Yeah.
Within a touchdown. So we'll see. We'll see who comes out on top.
We will. And the Dayton aspect of it does play a pretty notable role in it to me. Because, like, that's, like, true road. Like, that's true neutral site.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got to travel way north.
I think everybody will, though.
They will.
For both schools.
They absolutely will. That's the beauty. I mean, you don't get to play Moeller if you're St. X or get to play St. X if you're Moeller and not make the trip. You have to do it. All right, Brad. I think the most bewildered I've seen you all season is when we were reading Taft's numbers last week.
Yeah.
We're going back to the Senators because we're also getting another freak of nature that Taft now has to try to stop.
Okay.
With the Sens, they are 11-0. Their only game within 5 scores was altered by 6 in overtime earlier this year. They allowed their first score in 2 months to Clinton Massey last week.
It happened one time.
44-7. Clinton Massey ran the Southern Buckeye.
Yeah.
Absolutely ran it. We talked about this game because it was like, hey, 2 conferences that are kind of down. The top guys going up against each other. What happens? Turns out Taft is just that horrifying. I mean, they're a buzzsaw. Their defense pitched 8 shutouts last year, if you need any proof of that. Okay, so no stats reported from last week.
Okay.
So it's the same numbers we ran you, but Monsana Torbert's still on top of the world. He had 26 touchdowns, 0 interceptions all year. Mm-hmm. Najaya Hill, their leading rusher, over 400. Lorenzo McMullen had almost 600 receiving yards. I'm sure he crossed that threshold last week. Bryce Brewster, 10.5 sacks. JoJo Pouncey gets after guys, 27 tackles for loss. They play like a unit. You know, like but there's a lot of individualism within it, which is impressive.
And you didn't even Nijah Hill, correct?
Najaya.
Yes. You didn't even mention the 600 receiving yards.
Yeah.
From there, and then the 3 interceptions on defense.
Yeah. Like that's just it. Like again, like they have. You can write down about 5 jersey numbers from Taft and be like, these are the guys I'm going to watch on every route.
Yeah.
And you pretty much get the point. Like obviously you're going to have some guys, but it's like on defense, Najaya, JoJo, Bryce. Watch them, and then obviously, as soon as the ball hits Monsana's hands, it's going to be something great.
I would say Torbert has been one of those quarterbacks that I think we just talk about all the time. Where it's like, he's good.
If he was at a school, like if he was at a GMC school, I think that he is in the same amount of conversations as Ponatoski was last year.
Yeah,
like it's just a fact that like Taft are so expected to beat everybody they play that it becomes like we don't really get to talk about Monsana as much as we should, even though he's a fantastic player.
You know another fantastic player that I think we haven't talked about that much this year?
A player that I said that they were going to ruin by making a quarterback, and it turns out they didn't.
Yeah,
Devlin Daniel. Freak of nature, dude. 11-0. Quickly, their defense allowed 55 points all year.
Hey. 2 unstoppable forces right here.
Hello, immovable object. 5 shutouts, so slightly down from the 8, but beat Washington Courthouse 54-17 last week. 17 interceptions as a team as well. Just crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Devlin Daniel, we gave away the lead here. 961 passing yards, 55.7% completion rate, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions as a quarterback.
Yes.
Also, 942 rushing yards. 9.6 yards per carry, 19 rushing touchdowns.
Jeez.
He has 32 total touchdowns. I believe that's the most.
Can we go through the other stats real quick? Because I'll just come back to him.
Okay, so they have a trio of rushers.
Yeah.
Jacob Alexander, over 600 rushing yards, 7.6 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns. Evan Riggs, 484. 7.8 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns. Quickly, Dylan Hartman, 7 picks. Topher Watchell, I believe, is what I'm going to go with there. 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Go ahead.
Okay. Is Devlin Daniel just like being used the way that you use someone like Lamar Jackson in Madden?
Kind of.
Where you're just like, oh, there might be a good throw somewhere, but I'm probably just going to run him. And break away
He's
10 yards.
Yeah,
so.
well, because he's also not a natural quarterback.
Yeah.
And so it's like they have plenty of designed quarterback runs. It's almost a triple option. It's kind of like if the Falcons would have just been like, you know what, Mohamed Sanu is going to be our starting quarterback now.
Okay.
You remember whenever they had him throwing, or maybe even Taysom Hill, if you want to use that one for New Orleans.
Sure.
Where they're like, we're not going to commit to being a passing team by any means. I mean, look at the collection of stats that are on your docket right here. But
yeah, I mean, you don't have any receiving yards listed.
Yeah,
notably.
why would I? I mean, look at that. That's like 2,000 rushing yards.
2,000 rushing yards. Yeah, between three guys.
Like, yeah, that's the bread and butter. Like, if you're gonna go watch Indian Hill, and by no means any offense to their receivers or but like the run game is what you're watching.
Respectfully, you're going for Devlin Daniel.
Correct.
Yeah, like he was on our the top 19 for a reason.
Exactly. And the three guys that we've talked about their running, the lowest yards per carry is 7.6.
Yeah. So here's the only thing for me, though.
Yeah.
JoJo Pouncey, Bryce Brewster on the other side.
Yeah. And whenever Devlin does pass, Najee Hill's roaming in the backfield.
Yes, exactly. And Taft feels like a team that isn't going to fall for a triple option. You know what I mean?
Yes. I know that they have probably been obsessive in practice this week.
Oh, absolutely.
As they should be. I mean, it's the playoffs. You gotta. But it's such a strange layout. I do want to give a little bit of credit to Indian Hill in the terms of just like schedule preparedness at this point, because like you do have Wyoming in your conference. That's a hard team to beat. Taylor Marymount was capable of giving some problems. I think that the CHL was a more rounded product all year. Indian Hill still came out undefeated. Yeah. And there was a lot of danger swimming through there. This is the most unpredictable game for me. And Jody gets to go to it, and I walked up to him yesterday and I said, "You are so incredibly lucky."
Yeah.
Because dude, come on.
Come on, man.
This is my favorite game on the slate.
Yeah.
I know Moeller-St. and I'm sure that atmosphere will be crazy. This is my favorite game on the slate.
And I know that you were like all the way up in Dayton, but I'm also like, if there's a game to put in an 11,000 capacity stadium, it's Moeller-St.
Yeah, but there's just such a them using Thomas More, and sure. So it's like, I don't know.
Keep it in Ohio,
right?
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair. No, oh well, sorry, no, that's I misspoke. Not Thomas More. Who do they? Mount St. Joe's. They use Mount St. Joe's University's field.
Sure.
And so it's like you could have probably done it there, but either way.
Yeah. I'm
gonna make you pick up first on this.
I'm gonna go with Taft.
Okay.
I think that Taft is. There's a very good chance that Indian Hill proves me wrong and does figure out the gaps in the Taft defense. But I think that is harder to do than Taft figure out the gaps in the Indian Hill defense.
That's fair.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair.
Where this, it could easily be two teams running up a scoreboard and you have 90 points total between the two teams. It could also be 14-13. You know what I mean?
Yes, it could get weird fast. All right,
but I think in my head Taft is on top.
I'm going to talk you through my thought process.
Go for it.
Indian Hill's defense, while not to the same level of what Taft's has been,
sure,
has still only allowed 55 points.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not
right.
discrediting Indian Hill at all. It is simply to me, Taft is focused on we stop a run game and we're pretty good.
Valid. Totally valid. For still with the Braves here, 17 interceptions is a lot to carry in. I understand Monsana has not thrown one yet. At least he might have last week. I don't have those numbers. I can't tell you for certain. But all regular season long, he did not throw one.
Yes.
Devlin and his team a little bit more tested. I would say Devlin Daniel is also the best player on the field here.
For sure.
I tend to struggle the deeper into the playoffs we get, whenever it's teams that I do think are are of similar ilk, to not say where's the best player playing. I think Daniel Vollmer's the best player between Moeller and St. X. Ponatoski plays a very valuable position and is going to be a very talented dude. He's going to be a Kentucky quarterback.
Yeah,
but I think Devlin Daniel is the best player on the field here. Mm-hmm. I think they win this game.
Okay,
I think they do.
Which way do you see it going? Because I like I said, it could either be 90 points total between the two teams or like a 14-13.
I would lean lower scoring than higher scoring.
Okay.
Because I think the defenses are just too big to fail at this point. But I would still say that like my score prediction would be like 20-17.
Okay.
20-14 maybe. And it also does worry me because I think Taft is probably a pretty significantly more athletic team. Mm-hmm. And having that at this level is massive. But I think that what Indian Hill has managed to put together at this point is much more refined. And they've been the same team for a very long time. They continue to find success with it. So give me Indian Hill here.
Okay. It's all yours.
Yeah. And then the final one we got here, we are going into Kentucky.
Hey, week 2.
Yes. It took us a minute, but that first slate was a little tough.
That's all right.
Holy Cross and Newport. Mm-hmm. Holy Cross, a team I feel bad that we haven't talked about that much this year.
Yeah.
11-0. They beat Dayton 54-6 last week. Dayton, Kentucky, obviously.
Yep.
4 shutouts, 27 points allowed since September 12th because I love those defensive stats. 14 picks, 26 sacks. Brian Ferguson, their quarterback, over 1,000 passing yards, has 101 passes all year. So that should tell you that they don't really love to pass. 19 touchdowns, 1 pick, though. You take that. Yeah. Also as a rusher, 673 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns on the ground. So that right there is 1 more than Devlin, or 2 more than Devlin.
Yeah.
All across the board. Charles Oglesby is their primary running back, over 800 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns. And then we've got a pair of duos that are worth keeping note on at multiple levels of the defense. Frederick Garrett, Jacob Reiselman, both have 8 sacks. Dustin Wilson, Xavier Thornberry, both have 3 sacks.
3 interceptions.
3 interceptions, sorry.
Yep.
Yes, you got me. You get it.
Yeah, I can read your notes. It's okay. I know you can't, but I can.
Oh, man. And then they're going up against Newport, the Wildcats, 7-4. They beat Ludlow 42-2 last week. How often do you see a team just finish with a safety?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like doing what? Well, you know very well that I'm a fan of the Big Ten, and yes. I watch Iowa games.
You watch Purdue games too.
So yeah, I have seen games where they just end with a safety and 1 touchdown on the other side usually.
Oh, what a mess. As a team, Newport has 18 picks, 15 sacks.
Very nice.
The pressure rate not quite there, but the interceptions absolutely are. So originally, and you watched me work my way through that process this morning. Mm. I wrote a note that was something to the tune of just look at the quarterback stats and try to decipher this.
Sure.
We took a look at him. Jaden Conley took over in the Newcastle game, has been a notably better quarterback for the team.
Okay.
Significantly. 594 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions with 126 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. We will talk about Kavion Sharp because he has a big role to play in their defense. But he had 3 touchdowns to 9 interceptions throughout the season. Being able to get to a guy, and they're still not a high-volume passing team by any means, but to be able to get to a guy who is just being more efficient, cleaner football, allowing the run game to take forth, and whenever the pass game is needed, stepping in there, been massive for him. Kendall Buck-Barber, their running back, usually doesn't need too much help, though. He's over 1,100 rush yards, 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns. And then, like I mentioned, Kavion Sharp will get to be an isolated focus on corner now, which has been his strong suit, 6 interceptions all year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, because I didn't really notice it, because you mentioned, what was his name? I'm sorry. Conley.
Oh, yeah.
Conley taking over after the Central Catholic game, or in the Central Catholic game, has been undefeated since then, 4 wins.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Holy Cross still.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Because I do think on the whole a little bit better. But I did notice the common opponent of Dayton, who Newport did beat 52-14 4 weeks ago.
Not far off.
Math.
Not far off.
Exactly. And that was one where I know we always talk about Newport, Newcath, and things like that, like each year, and Newport has been on the lower side of things. I like this change for them, and I like what is happening. I think they will present a tougher challenge to Holy Cross than originally maybe we would have expected.
Absolutely.
I still think when you got that kind of stats, though, on the Holy Cross side, I'm like, yeah, you got two guys that are that have shared 16 sacks type thing. Like,
it's
a lot of interceptions between two backs. Like,
they're they're a level of complete that only undefeated teams can never really reach.
Yeah, it's like a Taft where you go, oh, you're getting nasty.
Exactly.
Like, what are you going to do about it?
So yeah, I'm taking Holy Cross too. I think that's it's not an easy one. I think it's going to be a really good game. That's why I put it on the slate. But
it's a tough one for Newport to have to face so early in the playoffs.
You give this a week or two down the road, I think we're actually having a bigger debate with a larger sample size around Conley.
Sure.
And then quickly, we'll throw the graphic up. A couple of the other big games on the slate: Elder and Princeton, like we got to spend some time talking about. LaSalle and Anderson, East Central, New Palestine, and it's Indiana. So,
Palestine.
Cascade versus Lawrenceburg, double Indiana hit there.
Yeah.
So a lot of good stuff to watch, and I feel bad because we went on for high school football for a really long time.
You know what? We only went about 7 minutes longer than I think we should have.
Then maybe I am just not remembering what time we started.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's why I try to remember these things. And as I told you before, we're gonna go in a weird order from how I've written my notes.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna get two games out of the way right now.
Yes.
UCLA is playing at Ohio State, 7:30 p.m.
What does this mean for Jerry Newhouse's legacy?
He's going to take a loss. That's what it means. Ohio State is really good.
Did we talk about how I want Stanford to call Jerry Newhouse?
Yes.
Okay. On the podcast?
Yes, we did. That was exactly last week when we were doing our coaching carousel stuff.
Good.
Because we talked about Stanford for a minute.
Well, this is also a conversation I've had with this is like my favorite harebrained idea of the off season.
What? You and your harebrained ideas? Yeah. Ohio State is really, really good. Julian Sayin is nutty. We were looking at, I'm not going to be able to show it because it's on ESPN, but if you look at the latest Power 4 quarterback rankings, there is a heat map from Huddle of where he is placing his throws, and there's arguably only like 8 to 9 that are uncatchable.
Yeah, like truly uncatchable.
And it's one of those things where you go, man, that boy has got accuracy.
Got me feeling
precision.
nicey.
Accuracy and accurate and precise.
Yes.
I remember that from chemistry. Shout out.
That makes one of us.
Shout out my high school chemistry teacher, Mrs. Bell. She is not listening.
I have no idea what you're talking about right
now. I'm just thinking back to to memories that I have. If Ohio State loses, we'll have something to talk about with them, but they won't.
No.
So
we are waiting until Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're waiting until is it in Ann Arbor or is it Columbus?
It's a great question.
Should be in Ann Arbor, right?
Is it?
Wasn't part of the conniption fit last year that they lost to Michigan in Ann Arbor or in Columbus?
Yep, it is in Ann Arbor.
Yeah,
it is in the big house. It's UCLA, it's Rutgers, and it's Michigan to close out the season. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to play Indiana in Indianapolis. Big house. The game and the game are going to be two games to pay attention to. But until then, I'm just going to keep going, wow.
It's on autopilot.
Those guys are really good at football.
Literally the only discussion we could have right now is who should be higher on the Heisman candidates between Sayin and Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah.
Yep. Another game we're going to talk about for about 2 minutes is Tennessee Tech heading to Kentucky. That is a 1:30 game. Again, one where I'm like, why is that the start time? But 1:30. This is where we'll admit our wrongs. I'm sorry to Kentucky fans. Way to beat Florida last week. I was like, hey, Florida may have lost, but they're still probably better. They weren't.
No.
And
it's still a more talented team, but just so broken.
Yeah, just kind of just doesn't have the guidance with
right.
Even with Napier, but also without Napier now.
Well, and talent really doesn't matter if you're not playing like a unit. Kentucky,
yes,
for what it's worth, has maintained a semblance of unity.
And I think that's always been the bright spots that we try to bring up. Is there is a cohesion to Kentucky?
Yeah.
It is just that there are times where it is not enough.
It feels like there's a lot of dudes trying to play for Stoops, or trying to play to keep Stoops.
Yeah, and I think they like him there, and
yeah.
I don't blame him for it. But if you lose to Tennessee Tech, fire.
Yeah. You gotta go home.
So we're picking Kentucky there. Very, very, very easy pick for the non-conference. Quick one again, because we have Wednesday night action, and as this is Wednesday morning that we are recording, I cannot tell you what has happened between Toledo and Miami because it's happening at 7 p.m. tonight. But what can happen in the last 3 weeks? Let's talk about it for a minute. So Ohio just lost to Western Michigan, which kind of helps and also doesn't help Miami.
Okay.
Because originally it was
One
going
forward,
to be
two back kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit because it's Ohio and Western Michigan were kind of up at the top of the MAC. This puts Ohio down with Miami, who they have a head-to-head win over. But the way that tiebreakers are, it's weird because that's how tiebreakers have to be.
Well, it's also the MAC.
Yes.
It would be wrong if it wasn't weird.
And so as I was going through, there's a B-ball. It's a website that someone made that you can put in pull up whatever conference you want, put in the rest of the games, calculate the standings, tell you tiebreakers, things like that.
Yeah.
So Miami can technically lose to Toledo this week, and if all of the other favorites win, Miami will be second because they will have a 3-0 record over Toledo and Ohio, who would also be 6-2.
Yes.
If Miami loses, or if Miami beats Toledo but loses to Buffalo next week, they would fall to third because they would lose to the head-to-head record against Ohio because there is no third-way tie.
Right.
And so having that three-way tie is actually more beneficial.
Because they need that second tiebreaker.
Yes. Now, if Miami wins out,
Doesn't
they're tied with Western Michigan and actually are first in the conference because they would both be 7-1 in the conference, and Miami would have beaten Western Michigan already this year,
right.
Which would then give you that rematch in the championship game. Western Michigan is playing Northern Illinois and Eastern Michigan to close out the rest of their season. I don't see them losing those games, so I do believe that Western Michigan is going to hold on to the top of the MAC for now, and it's kind of a little bit in Miami's hands to either close things out against the Rockets, and really even if they don't close things out against the Rockets, you got to close it out against the Bulls.
Absolutely.
And then you have Ball State on the 29th to close out the season. And I'm going to say, I can pick now. I'm going to pick the Red Hawks over that.
Yeah, same.
So we'll kind of see what happens with the rest of that and have a better idea once we get closer to the MAC championship. And also just kind of talk about it once we get to that Ball State game because that'll be a Saturday game.
For sure. That'd be nice to return to.
I know.
Where we can actually speak about
where you're like, ooh, let's talk about the MAC again. Hey, we've been watching all these games, but we got to put them out on time. So
yeah, doing what I can.
In the ACC, this is a Friday night game competing with you on your high school football. Clemson at Louisville. Louisville needs to win out.
Mm-hmm. They are in a weird shape.
ACC. Okay, so did you know that the ACC could there's a decent chance that the ACC just could even get left out of the college playoff?
Yeah, because Duke can win the conference.
Yeah. And if Duke wins the conference, it's the highest ranked. I want to give credit to Richard Johnson with CBS Sports for pointing this out in the last week or so. If Duke wins the conference, Duke is not going to be a highly ranked team, and it is the highest ranked conference champions.
Right. So JMU and South Florida.
Yeah, are going to be higher, and so
and maybe even Tulane.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tulane is actually one that they went out in the American, they're probably going to be up there.
Yeah, after that Memphis win, that's big.
Yeah. So, but on Louisville's side, you went out. You would need Duke to lose to either Virginia, UNC, or Wake Forest. Mm-hmm. If Duke loses to Virginia, you also need Virginia to lose to Virginia Tech, because Georgia Tech is also at the top of the ACC right now. And this is all assuming Georgia Tech wins out over BC and Pitt.
I wouldn't assume on that Pitt game.
No, that Pitt game's weird. Now,
Georgia
I
Tech's
like
weirder.
Haynes King.
I do too.
Where I don't think that Pitt tomfoolery can overcome the man running through a brick wall that Haynes King is.
Sure, but like I also who did they literally just lose to? Where Haynes King was like almost the perfect quarterback, and then they still dropped it.
Let's figure it out.
Their first loss of the season. It was what is happening to me?
NC State.
Thank you, NC State.
48-36.
Haynes King's stat line was like almost perfect.
25-35, 408 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Look at his rush. He had rushing yards too.
Oh yeah, 103 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So,
and they still lost.
Yeah.
It's like Georgia Tech has to be more than just Haynes King.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like the Devlin Daniels method does not work at this level. If you want to win the ACC. Actually, it might this year, but still,
And I'll say I think that's a little bit of the defense in a way.
Yeah, I mean, they kept giving it up, and you can't do that, especially to an NC State team that's just been so strange this year.
Because you had a few. Oh yeah, you just had a few times where it's like field goal touchdown, and you're not gonna do it with that. So
no, but Miami's the best chance for representation at this point, in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the ACC is just in a weird, like, slop bowl.
Yes.
You ordered everything you wanted at Chipotle, and they're like, yeah, we'll just put it all in there. You're like, wait, I have to have 2 things. Like, I need a protein and a carb, though.
I can't just have beans.
Yeah. And they're like, no, it's beans.
It's
Keep eating
beans.
beans.
It's beans, it's lettuce, and it's that corn salsa. Have fun.
With a dollop of sour cream on top. But, yeah.
Maybe some of that chimichurri sauce that they've got now.
Louisville's in a weird spot.
You very.
ACC's in a weird spot.
Yep.
I think that I do think they win out, or not that they win out, but that they would beat Clemson here. I think Clemson is in a oddly retractive position, recessive position.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about them anymore.
I don't either. It's really hard to talk about Clemson.
How many years of Dabo not doing NIL do they give him before he gets fired? Next year?
Oh, I think that you need to do. I mean, I think that it would. If we just saw the coach that didn't really want to do NIL get fired, Mike Gundy.
Yes.
So I think
we see he's so old. Like that's the difference.
Oh sure.
Dabo's
I mean,
like young.
Dabo's young, but like hard-headed in the way of this is the way things are done still.
Yes.
And I'm not going to adjust to it. And it's probably like why like Saban retired.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But I think Dabo can adjust. But if he doesn't, what's he gonna do?
Dabo should just retire and go be a commentary,
or go work at the NFL, even.
Yeah.
You know,
he honestly does have one of the better structures to make it work up there.
Yeah. I mean, he arguably runs that program like an NFL program, just without the payments.
Right.
So.
Not a bad idea. And here I am.
That one's for free.
And here I am worried about Sarkisian.
Yeah.
Who? Okay, so this can be I'll shut up after this.
Go for it.
The Draft Network.
Yeah.
Put out like lines for the Giants head coaching search.
Mm-hmm.
First one was Kiffin. Hilarious.
That's funny.
Love that. Sarkisian at 18-1 feels like I would consider putting money on it if that was a real line.
I love that from you. But you're actually right that that's not a terrible idea.
And also, if Texas comes open, we are in college football apocalypse.
Oh yeah, with what's already open?
Texas, Florida, LSU, Auburn, Penn State, all at the same time? Quite possibly. I am a big believer that Lincoln Riley wants out of SC.
And you're going to have Ohio State when Ryan Day loses to Michigan this year? It's going to be crazy.
Sharon Moore,
Yeah.
Honestly, that wouldn't be a
Well, I could see Michigan making some move at some point, but
no, Wisconsin's sticking with Fickle.
yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing that he said about this? Because we did that whole coaching thing, and then they're like, "Hey, we're sticking with Fickle," and I was like, "Oh, that would have been really funny to get to talk about."
Yeah.
But then I guess he did some interview thing where he's like, "Yeah, like this thing happened during the game, and it was like with special teams and like punting," and he's like, "Yeah, when that happened, you got to fire the punting coach," and well, that's me. And everyone's like, "Wait, what are you doing?"
Do we think that he's tanking the job because he thinks Madison's too cold?
I can't tell. Hey, after that game against Wisconsin in the 36, 39 degree rain, I don't blame him for it. Same with Iowa. If Ferentz would be like, but I think that only fuels Kirk Ferentz.
Yes. Ferentz wakes up in the morning whenever his car's like frozen over. He has to clean the ice. Yeah. And he just gets like, that's his energy drink.
I just love the idea of like both Washington and Oregon being like, "Oh, we can play in the rain. We know the rain. We're from the Pacific Northwest."
Like, get ready.
And then it's 36, 39 degrees, and you're like, "Oh, what do you mean this is rain?"
Dan Lanning is crying on the sideline.
Those are nasty games.
Beautiful though.
Kept watching them though. Couldn't turn away from it.
Yeah, the beauty of just, I don't know. It's just so interestingly chaotic, the Big Ten now. Mm-hmm. Even though I cannot stand the geographical setup of it.
I know.
I love that we just make Oregon go play in the snow now. Or SC.
It's punishment for the nice weather. And let's close out with the Big 12.
Yep.
Because Arizona's coming to Cincinnati Saturday at noon. Mm-hmm. First Alert Weather Team has been saying it's going to be 60 degrees Beautiful. On that day. A little bit of rain, light drizzle, nothing too crazy. Mm-hmm. Beautiful day for football here in the Queen City.
And starting as early as possible as you can against the team as far west as you can go.
Yes. Make them wake up early.
Yes.
Cincinnati.
Get as cold as you can get.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to wait till the nighttime.
No.
Do it.
Nah. No. Cincinnati does need to win out for a shot at second in the Big 12 at this point.
And that Utah game was so demoralizing.
It really was. I'm hesitantly positive that in like the sense of I could see Cincinnati being like, that's the turnaround game. Because
in which direction?
Of like, hey, we're picking things back up here.
Okay.
Because it's Arizona, it is BYU next week, which is tough. But I think that Texas Tech game said a lot about BYU.
It did. They haven't had to play that close. And they haven't really had that many scares up to that point.
Also correct, yes. And then you have TCU to close out the year.
Yeah.
Which isn't a freebie, a free game, but
beatable,
but winnable.
Very weird. They're
like if I'm gonna say who's favorited right now, it's like Cincinnati versus Arizona, it's BYU versus Cincinnati, and then it's Cincinnati versus TCU. But that's a close margin still.
Absolutely. Kendall Briles is kind of figuring it back out again, mm-hmm. And then their defensive coordinator is somebody decent, but I can't think of who it is.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, so we'll want to see which Brendan Sorsby shows up, because in wins he's been arguably best QB. He's almost been better than Sayan. Not entirely, but almost. And in losses, he's had a quarterback rating of 40s.
Correct.
And so it's like
very duality of man.
Yeah.
Issues. It's Andy Avalos, by the way, the old Boise State head coach.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You want to talk about some games that are happening on Fox this weekend?
Yeah,
and we'll also talk about the interview that I have going on.
Are we going to post that to this episode? Or the
yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just didn't know what the...
Surprise.
Yeah. Sorry.
So Minnesota's at Oregon, 9 p.m. on Friday night. And then on Saturday, you have Michigan at Northwestern at noon. And UCF at Texas Tech at 3:30. If you want to see the team that looks like they're going to win the Big 12 or be number one in the Big 12 heading to the championship, watch that 3:30 game. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech is nasty.
Very, 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 very nasty. And even though there's a lot of money invested into it, that does not mean teams play good together.
That team,
they play very
They did
well
not
together.
buy a team. They bought a roster.
Yep.
And arguably only the defensive side of things. And then they built the offense and made that thing work cohesively. And it is rolling down the tracks.
Well, and then the new starter gets hurt. They put the old starter back in, and Baron Morton looks good.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Really good.
So you can't keep the Red Raiders down.
Nope.
Wreck them.
Hey, guns up, I think that's what they do.
Wreck them. I know it's
Wreck 'em,
that much.
guns up, whatever. Yeah, something like that.
But very cool school.
Very cool.
UCF also really cool. Hope Scott Frost gets it figured out because
your boy.
Yes, I do like Scott Frost quite a bit.
But it's also basketball season right now, and I got to sit down with author Shea Serrano, formerly of The Ringer, has a 5-time New York Times bestseller. This was big for me. I love his books. I've read the first 4. I had them sitting next to me while talking to him. I'm like, hey man, I gotta geek out for a minute. But I got to talk to him about his brand new book called Expensive Basketball, which kind of takes a look at some of the numbers of the sport and explains why the game is more than just numbers and the lasting feelings that some of the biggest moments have left in fans. So let's go ahead and take a listen to my talk with him. All right, joining me now is 5 times New York Times bestselling author Shea Serrano, author of the new book Expensive Basketball. Shea, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. Been looking through the book a little bit, and I love. I think the best thing about a lot of the way that you write and talk about basketball is that you are never too stuck on numbers. But in a way, that's a piece of what this whole thing is about. But so how are you able to, how for this book in particular, were you able to bring your blend of like vibes-based basketball and statistics together in such a way?
Well, I think the whole plan was when I was trying to figure out what I wanted the book to be about. I knew I was going to do a basketball book. I wasn't sure what the subject was going to be. So as part of the research, what I was doing was I was just talking to as many people as I could about basketball. And the same question sort of kept coming up whenever I would have these conversations with somebody. I would ask them to tell me your favorite like basketball memory, right? And each person that I asked, it didn't matter what the story was that they were telling, it sort of always followed a similar pattern. And so I'm going to, as a way to make this like less theoretical, we can do it right now. So Brad, tell me like a favorite basketball memory that you have, something that you watched happen on a basketball court that was like, I like that.
So I think that I have 2 different ones, because one of them is when I was little, growing up in Indiana, watched the Pacers. I loved watching Reggie Miller, and just seeing the way that he could handle a ball is always just something memorable to me, and the way that he shot at that time. I can put myself in that moment. Memory is Dirk Nowitzki passing Wilt Chamberlain, because I was in Dallas at that game against the Pelicans, in 2019. And just the roar. I will always remember the roar of the crowd once he hit that shot and put the game on pause, basically.
Right. Okay. So perfect example. So you're telling me right now a memory that you have of a basketball thing that you will remember forever for your whole entire life is the night that Dirk Nowitzki passed Wilt Chamberlain on the scoring record.
Yes.
Right. Right. Like that's a substantial achievement. That's a thing like at the beginning of Dirk's career that nobody thought was going to happen. Nobody thought he was going to become the player that he would eventually become. Nobody thought he would have the 2011 postseason run that he had, one of the all-time great performances. Like nobody could have anticipated this at the start of his career, but you're there. You probably watched him get drafted all the way up until this moment when he passes this Wilt Chamberlain record. And as you're telling me this thing you're telling me right now is a very numbers-based thing. He scored more points than Wilt Chamberlain. That's the night that I remember. But you didn't say it was when he had this many points. What you said was, I will always remember the roar of the crowd, the way that it sounded when that ball went in. Everybody wasn't saying a number. Everybody was just screaming in celebration. That's what the feeling always comes first. It's always before a number, no matter what the thing is. If we go to like the Well, let's go NBA Finals last year, Game 1. Tyrese with the ball in his hands in the final seconds. As he
Oh,
was coming up, everybody knew he was going to shoot it. Nobody was thinking when he let that shot go. Nobody said, "Oh, if this goes in, he's going to be 9 for 17 from the field." Nobody thought that. Everybody in OKC just thought, "Please, God, don't let this go in." Everybody in Indiana, everybody who was rooting for the Pacers, which I was, by the way, everybody who was rooting for the Pacers thought, I watched him do this in every round of the playoffs. Is that's what's happened? Every round of the playoffs, Tyrese Halliburton hit the go-ahead game winner of a game. He's going to do it already in Game 1, and sure enough, that ball dropped. You were filled with a feeling. You're there watching a numbers record get broken by maybe the most famous number guy of all time, Wilt Chamberlain, with a 100-point game. And when you're telling me about it, you didn't say any numbers at all. You told me about the roar of the crowd. That's what you'll remember. And every person that I talk to, everybody who loves basketball, if you ask them for like a basketball memory that they have a fondness for, that's how it goes. They tell you about a feeling that they had. The numbers come later. The book is not like a refutation of stats. Plenty of stats in there, plenty of numbers in there. What the book proposes is that it's always in service of something else. It's used to fortify a feeling more than a number.
it puts a quantitative thing behind something that is so feelings based.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we were talking about memorable playoff moments. I do have the book open on a screen right here, and I have the Damian Lillard chapter open. And you're exactly right that no one. I don't think if you asked anybody what was the score of the game where Damian Lillard hit the last second shot, who cares? You see all of the Trailblazers rushing the court, circling around him, the like smug little look that he gave the camera, things like that. What
Yeah.
was your favorite moment to reflect on as you were going through writing this book, or just from someone's story as you were talking to them about this?
They're all super fun. The Lillard one was a ton of fun. Rewatching Clay's third quarter bonanza was a ton of fun. Rewatching Kobe's final 196 seconds of that game was like it's all fun. But if you're asking for like the thing I cared about the most and the thing that I loved writing the most, it will always come back to Tim Duncan, who's my favorite basketball player of all time. I was very excited to try to corral all of my feelings and admiration and emotions that I have connected to him over the past, near 2 decades. I was very
Of
excited to
course.
try to put that into a book chapter, and that's my favorite basketball player of all time. And then the first basketball player I ever loved was Reggie Miller. So I was really excited to like have a Reggie Miller chapter. I had written a basketball book previously. I didn't
Mhm.
have a Tim Duncan chapter in there or a Reggie Miller chapter in there because I didn't feel like I was like capable at the time of writing what I wanted to write, how I wanted to write it. When I made this one, I said, I don't know if I'm going to have another basketball book ever after this, so I'm going to make sure to get my two like lifelong loves in there some sort of way. So I was really excited to write those two chapters.
And I think another great thing is that this isn't just about the NBA. You bring up some of the legends of the WNBA. I know that you've been a big proponent and supporter of women's sports. You have chapters about Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. What kind of growth for you as someone who has just been following along with the WNBA have you seen in that world of women's sports to get to the spot it is today where we have more players like Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, just to name some of the big names
Right.
that are becoming household names like LeBron, Kobe, things like that.
Well, I noticed you didn't say Asia, my
I
girl
did.
Asia,
I
the
did. I did
number one
not. You're
the
right.
number one player on the planet. Let's say Asia's name. Um, okay, so here's an easy way to sort of for me to I guess reflect on the growth of the league because I didn't start watching until 2018,
Yeah.
right? So that's only 7 years. I was 20 years late to like actively watching games, but I started in 2018, and I was like, all right, what I want to do here, I want to do the same thing that I do with the NBA, which is I want to watch all through the season. I want to watch like games during the week. Like that's what I want. Like right now, the season is in. We're in the NBA season, so it's like on Monday and Tuesday, I got the Peacock games. I'm watching those ones, and on Thursday night, I'm watching the Amazon Prime game. Like it's all, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
have a
it's scheduled out.
scheduled out. It's very easy to do. When I started watching the W in 2018, you couldn't do that. It was not like you couldn't just turn on your TV and find a game. If you wanted to watch a game on your TV, you had to have League Pass on your computer, on your laptop, and then plug your laptop into your TV and watch it that way. I'm speaking in generalities here, but that's how it was for the most part. And then you look at now today, where the WNBA is more popular than it's ever been. Every game, it seems like they're breaking an attendance record or a viewing record or whatever. You could do the same thing now that you do with the NBA, which is like you can watch the game. There's going to be a game on ESPN, and there's going to be a game on ABC, and there's going to be like it's easy to turn on your TV and watch a game. And I think that's the easiest way to see the growth of the game itself. It became more accessible. It became easier to find, and it turned out everybody was like, "Oh wow!" It turns out if you make the games easy to watch, people want to watch them because this is like basketball is fun, and more basketball is always good. And now there's more basketball. So that's for me, just like as a casual observer, that's the main difference I have noticed. It's so much easier now to just be like, boop, YouTube TV. I've got multiple games up on my little quadrant, and it's fun. It's real fun.
It's one of the things that I love that our parent company Gray did was make some agreements and put. I believe we were carrying, I think, 10 or 12 Fever games last year on one of our channels and things like that. And it is making it the easier that you make it for people to just have an eye on it, even if they aren't as invested as, say, you or me yet. It's how you build
Yeah, that's
fans.
exactly right. Make it easy to
Well,
watch.
then let's talk a little bit about you mentioned Tim Duncan as your favorite player. I had Dirk growing up. One of those. It was just one of those guys that I was like, someone who will never grow over 5'10", want to be the really tall European guy that has an insane jumper. But for you as watching Tim Duncan, for the next generation of kids watching, whether it's Steph, it's Cooper Flag, it's Wemby, obviously is doing incredible things right now. In what ways do you think that the players can help to leave lasting memories for those young fans and for the viewers, that you have more memories like the ones in this book?
Oh, I think you just got to go out there and hoop. That's really all you need. That's all a basketball fan is looking for. You mentioned Steph in your list here. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he just went out there and hoop at the Olympics, when he had his gold medal moment, like a generation of kids are going to remember that forever. There's going to be like two people in 25 years doing whatever the 25-year from now version of a Zoom is, or whatever the 25-year now version of a book interview is. And they're going to be talking about as kids watching that thing. Like that's all you got to do. If you're a basketball player, go out there and get some buckets, and it's like in Gladiator when they're like, if you want to be loved, like go out there and kill. If you want to be a loved basketball player, just go out there and kill.
But is there anything that you want readers, as they're going through the book, that when they go to the end of it, what are they walking away with in your hopes?
In my hopes, I want them to feel like they love basketball a little bit more than when they started reading the book. That's really it. I mentioned earlier that the numbers should be used in service of something else. I think the book should be used in service of basketball. That's all that I want. I want somebody to go like, "Oh, you love basketball? Oh, you'll probably like this book by this guy." And then you flip through it and read it, and you're like, "Oh yeah, this meant something to me." Be it a specific moment in the book, or be it a thing where you read one thing and you go, oh, I know what this felt like because I have that version with this other thing over here. I just want people to like basketball so we can all talk about it.
Yeah, I was telling you before that I've been reading your books for a while now, and Basketball and Other Things, I think, was the first one that I got, and that Movies and Other Things, Hip Hop and Other Things. It's such the way that you write is just such a great way to feel in a way.
Thanks, man.
It's not about statistics and things like that. It's just good vibes and always entertaining to read through. So before you go, is there anything else that you want to add? Best places to find expensive basketball for anybody that wants to head out and get it.
What's the independent bookstore in Indiana? What do y'all have out there?
Well, we have we're in Cincinnati. But
wait,
Kentucky,
why am I thinking Indiana?
Because I grew up across the border and up there, and so that's why I watched Pacers. But no, in Cincinnati, I mean, we have. Oh gosh, we have. I know we have some Barnes and Nobles, and I'm. What is it? There's a book. I can see it in my head, and that's why Joseph Beth. I know that we have it all the time, so we mention it all the time.
There you go. Well, go if you're there, go get it there. Any independent bookstore is always the best place to go buy a book, because the same thing that happens, like if you and I were just sitting there talking about basketball, when we would just be able to talk forever, and it would be like a fun, warm conversation. Yeah. If you go to an independent bookstore, every person who's in that independent bookstore loves books so much. They love to talk about books, and it's just such a pleasant experience to go somewhere where somebody's excited about their job. And that's often not the case. But in an independent bookstore, they're excited about their job. They're happy that you're there, and all they want to do is like help you find a book that you might love, and that's the best possible thing, really.
Hey, beautifully put, and I absolutely agree. It's so. Go ahead. You can find expensive basketball at any independent bookstores, and if you can't, ask them about it. I'm sure they can help get it ordered in. So, Shea, Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. All right, we'll send it back to me and Jackson now. So thank you again to Shea for sitting down and talking with me about that book. I'm looking forward to digging into it a little bit more. I really only had time to get through like the first half, which has a chapter about Dirk Nowitzki, my favorite player, as I kind of mentioned, of being in that moment with him during the interview. So. And then I'll let you borrow it after, and you can check it out too.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, count me in.
Get you reading.
I tend to lean into more of the college basketball side, but the NBA is still a very, especially the era of a lot of what he's talking about. Was a very captivating thing in my younger years. So
well, and I was never a Lakers fan. You can't not talk about Kobe.
Right. You
can't not talk about LeBron and like be interested in Steph Curry. For me, is still one of those players.
Dwayne Wade. Plus Dwayne Wade's one of those that like just forget about how genuinely fantastic he was.
Absolutely. And then there's some great women's basketball stuff as well.
Sue Bird, right?
Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Asia Wilson. Mm-hmm. Some arguably all-time greats already in that time. So
absolutely.
But that is all that we have for this week. So thank you all for listening. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to the FOX19 NOW Sports podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and more. You get us on Thursdays. You get Gold Standard on Fridays. And then, of course, there's Bengals Now on Wednesday nights down at the Levee, starting at 6 p.m.
Yes.
If you want to be there for the live filming. And then it airs on Thursdays at 11:35.
Yeah, 11:30 p.m. and then 2 p.m. on Friday.
Beautiful.
Oh, 11:35. Yeah, it's whatever. Whenever our
it's like right after our
newscast goes off.
But yeah, so definitely check those out, and we will see you all next time.
Have a good one.